Welcome, welcome, welcome to become an industry celebrity. Well, you'll learn how to create a powerful personal brand to be a sought after industry leader doing your damn thing. So, Lianamar, welcome to the show. Tell people who you are.
Hi, Deidre. Well, you know who I am, but my name is Lianamar Davila. I am a social media strategist. So basically, I offer full service social media management. I do offer strategy sessions, and basically, I help service based entrepreneurs and coaches really shine online and especially on Instagram, which is my platform of choice, and it is the one I am an expert in.
Yeah, so we got Instagram, we got LinkedIn over on my side. We got it all over here. And the key question I always hear from people like, what do I write about? What do I make videos about? Like people are clueless. I was clueless. You know how I know I was clueless? Because I actually hired Lianamar to help me with this. And at one point I was like, what the heck am I writing? So what is up with this content creation confusion?
Yeah, it's challenging. And the key to know is creating content for any platform. And nobody wants to hear this, right? But it depends. It depends. Everyone has different goals. So your audience is mostly business owners or people that are trying to shine in their industry. So if you're trying to use a social media platform as a lead generation area or just to put your brand more out there, then I like to cover four basic content buckets, right? Is first, let's figure out what is our niche? What do we want to talk about? And how you typically pick a niche is like, okay, it's a system called batching, right? Like, let's sit down and create all of the content ideas. What do I want to talk about? And if you have enough, then you can say, okay, I can consistently talk about this topic week after week after week, right? Because the key to social media platforms is repetition. Not everyone sees every single piece of content that you do. So, how do we figure out what we talk about? People come to social media to be educated, to be entertained, to create connections with other people, right? So storytelling pieces are really important. And then the last one is sales, right? Promote yourself, promote your services, talk about what you do. So those are like the main content pillars that I like to start off with for any client, no matter if you sell a product or a business, right? So let's start with that. And how does that look in your industry or your niche, right? So for storytelling, like maybe you want to tell people about your personal transformation, your journey, if you have clients that you service with a service-based business, then maybe you want to talk about their transformation. So maybe that's a testimonial. And that's where we start. And then from there, it depends on your goals.
Exactly. We got Grace. Hey, Gracielle. Said hello, ladies. Well, hello, Gracielle. Thank you for being here. And like batching is like cooking. Some people like to cook every night. That is not me. Some people like meal prepping. It's the same darn thing.
Yeah.
It's just make it work for you. And I have a question. Why is Lianamar so good at storytelling? Can we tell them what you did before your past life?
Yes. Well, if you are on LinkedIn, you can go check me out on LinkedIn, Lianamar Davila. But so I actually was a reporter, a TV reporter for a very long time. I actually also wrote for newspapers and magazines. So my background is in storytelling and writing, but then, later on in my career, I turned that storytelling into video. And that's really like my sweet spots. I really love reels. I love creating reels for myself. I love creating reels for other people. My content strategies always include a very strong video component if my clients are comfortable with that. And if they're not, I really try to push them and encourage them the best that I can.
I love that. And the thing is, Reels is obviously Instagram specific, but there's TikToks, there's LinkedIn stories, there's native. It's
Yeah.
like it's video. Video. I'm sorry. Video
Yeah, we're
is.
on video right now. And
I'm in the box.
you do a great job at repurposing your content for different platforms, right? Because you leverage LinkedIn, which is your bread and butter, but you also leverage other platforms like Instagram. And then if you wanted to take it a step further, you could take all of your reels and all of your video content and put them on TikTok as well. So, there's like Canva, and there's so many, and InShot, so many programs out there that are free that can help you resize your video so that they fit whatever box you want to put it in. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
a pro tip.
I'm pretty polyamorous with my content platforms. This I'm not married. I'm in love with LinkedIn, but I data route my because what I don't have time for the shenanigans. I say that, but it's like really if I have a fire content that's gonna serve people, I'm putting that thing
Mhm.
everywhere. Like it's Frank's Red Hot sauce.
Exactly.
on everything because people deserve to hear our stories to help transform their lives. So for you, can you tell me a story or stories of how clients have gone from content confusion to content creation?
Yeah, so I have two different types of clients, I would say. People that come to me and they have like all of this existing content, but maybe it's on different platforms, right? Maybe it's a lot of blogs. Maybe they've been a blogger for a long time because their creativity comes across writing. Maybe they have a podcast that, you know, there's tons of content out there. So when it comes to that, it's like repurposing is the name of the game, right? So what I try to think about is, how can I make this content piece live as long as humanly possible, right? So maybe it's like a 1,000 word blog. We can turn that into 4 Instagram posts, 4 LinkedIn posts. Maybe if they're comfortable on video, maybe I can have them read it on video and then we can use that as a reel or whatever. Reels can also be text-based, right? You can make short text-based videos that you can resize for LinkedIn as well. So if you have existing stuff out there, and also I just want to be very clear, like just because you put it out into the world once don't let it die there, you know, like this is where analytics and insights are really important on all the platforms. Like if it performed well a month or two ago, like line that sucker back up, right? Like let's show it again, because people need in marketing, people need to be repeated the same message. I think the statistic is between like 7 and 12 times before they hear your message, right? Whether it's an inspirational or educational message, or whether it's what you sell, right? You have to tell multiple people, this is the service that I can provide you. This is how I can help you. This is how I can, you know, plus up your life a couple of times before they're finally like, you know, it's the right day, time, place, and moment in their life where they're like, I'm ready to commit. I need their help. I hear you. So that's with existing content. If they don't have content available, then we have to create it, right? And dependent on your industry and your niche, maybe that is like visual content. So in that case, then I sit down and create a kind of like a strategy session with my client. I'm like, okay, talk to me about what you want to talk about. And then I usually create like a content plan for them, and I try to dump out as many ideas as topics as possible. And then that's where we kind of work together. And I'm like, okay, fill in some blanks here. This is what I think we could talk about here. This is the format that that content would go in. And by format, I mean like, will it be a static image? Will it be a video? Will it be, you know, whatever it is? And that's where we go from there. So I really, you know, my services are really tailored to the specific client and the industry that they're in. To make it as valuable for them as possible.
That brings up a different question. Some people are like, well, I work in X industry. I can't create okay, for y'all records, I worked in insurance. I worked in public health. I worked in a lot of different industries. Okay. You know, I'm a millennial, so I had a lot of different hustles. So I say that because literally any industry can create content. So like, what is this hang up on? Like, I can't create content because my industry, I can't write about it.
Let's talk about insurance, for example, right? Like, I feel like if you're, and I don't, you could probably school me on insurance because I have no idea what that even consists of. I actually had a potential lead with insurance, so I might have to talk to you offline about this. What can you teach other people that they may not know, right? Because when we're an expert at something, we may think, oh, well, if I know this, everyone else know this. So no, let's take it to the basics. Like, walk me through like what are the basics of insurance that everyone must know. And that's where I help my clients, because I'm like, okay, give me like 3 basic facts that everybody should know. Like, even if you think like every single person on earth should know this, no, there is probably somebody out there that doesn't. So that's where I help them walk through like, how can we make your topic content, right? I feel like people feel like content is like this such elusive term, but everything is content. Your personal life is content. Your personal interest is content. What you drink.
Christian, my son. Okay, you want to say hi? You got. I'm recording the show.
This is content, right?
Okay.
Hi,
see you later.
She
said hi. I'm okay. Well, I'm on live camera. You can have some chips. So
this is great content. The relationship with your son, that is content for LinkedIn, for Instagram, for everyone, right? Because people, you can make a human connection based on somebody might admire that relationship with your son or just think he's super cute or whatever. That's content. And even if you're a super serious like business person or insurance person, talking about your family or your personal interest is a whole content pillar, right? Talk about your interest, right? Because you're going to attract the type of people, you're going to, what is it like? your vibe attracts your tribe, or even though that word's problematic, like that's the flow that we want to go with, because there are hundreds of thousands of people that sell exactly what you sell, right? How do you set yourself apart? You are the only one of you, and ultimately people are going to go with you based on the thing that sets you apart, which is your personality.
That is so true. And Ted said, awesome. Well, awesome. You, Ted. Thank you for hanging out and enjoying this conversation. And I want to really drive in on this conversation because I work with clients who have been interested in upping their personal brand game. And what I find is highly performing and highly successful people, sometimes they have this thing where they're really good at their job. Mm-hmm. But the issue, I would say sometimes, if you're not likable, it only gets so far. I had it where people like they're really good at their jobs, get performance reviews, and I'm talking about the corporate space. And their team will say, I like she's great at her job, but I don't trust her. I don't know anything about the person, because some of us been taught personal life is personal, business life is this. So how do we find the right balance between like creating these connections so that we actually can drive relationships versus like tell them too much?
Yeah, and I think again that too much will be defined by the person that it is, right? Because some people are like, I'm gonna share it all, and that might work for them, right? Mm-hmm. It's like all about your comfort levels. I would say start slow. You know, I think what is trendy right now, like morning routines and evening routines and self-care. Maybe you start with something safe like that. You know, like this is what I drink for breakfast. This is how I like my eggs. I don't know, like simple things, you know, just like, hey, you know, maybe my daily routine is for lunch, I like to eat my lunch outside. Like, who else likes to do that? And that's something that could be a quick LinkedIn post, and then the next thing you know could go viral because 10,000 people also like to eat their lunch outside every day to get some fresh air, right? Like, we really underestimate what will create that connection, that personal connection with other people. Because at the end of the day, business and anything that you do or trying to sell is about the personal connection, right? So start off with sharing small, safe things. And as you practice, right, it becomes a little bit more natural. And I know it for a lot of us can feel very unnatural to like share in this black hole of a platform that you don't know where this content is going to end up. But, you know, it's the new normal.
It's a new norm. So mistakes. What are some top mistakes people make when it comes to content creation? It could be mindset, it can be actual techniques, strategies, but what are some top mistakes you see that people are making?
You said the word, no strategy. that that is a mistake. And I'll explain what I mean. So while it's perfectly fine to like post something that's kind of like off the cuff, right? We want to be a little bit strategic. So the 4 content pillars, you know, those are like the general ones. Yours can be different depending on your industry. So let's say we want to share like something personal. Let me back up. Strategy is the biggest mistake because I'm like a data person. And if we don't have a purpose behind what we're doing, we can't really measure its success. And then we can't make it like a repeatable process. So if you want to share something personal, that's fine. Just note, hey, I'm sharing this personal because the result I'm looking for is to see how many other people also connect to this lifestyle content that I'm posting, right? And if it works, then we want to do it again. If it doesn't, then maybe we don't. But obviously, we always want to test. That's like the biggest thing that I push with my clients is you got to test it. We really don't know, right? We have to see what works. Let's try something. If it doesn't work, we will pivot. So that is that, you know, when it comes to strategy, just post with a purpose, whether it's, okay, I'm going to share educational content, personal content, promotional content about my services.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's got to have a plan. Like if you don't plan, not planning is a plan to fail or something like that. Something like that. It's a bumper sticker out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But
I know what you're trying to say, but I can't remember what it is.
Basically, get your mind right, create a plan. And that's really key. I think a lot of us have that. And I remember at one point we talked about this because something I really like to help clients was make branding a part of their lifestyle. And I know that's something you talk to people about, like service providers or. So can we talk about that? How can we actually make this a habit and not a task, but a habit where it's like, oh, I have an idea. Maybe I can create content on it. How do you turn it into a habit or a lifestyle?
I think planning, and the word I used earlier is batching, right? So, and then when you touched on that, some of us are like, let's plan 2 weeks in advance, and some people are like, plan 2 seconds in advance. And if that's what works for you, that is fine. But I would highly recommend to have a little bit of a plan. So whether it's like keeping the notes as like, I don't know, maybe you're taking a walk or you just woke up or you just got out of the shower, like, oh, these are topics that I want to talk about. So then if you are a off the cuff kind of poster, you can be like, okay, so these are my notes. I'm going to post about this today, whether it's like an idea and maybe the morning of you flesh it out. I sometimes post like that on my personal Instagram and my business Instagram. I'm like, I have this list of ideas, and then what I do the day of when I'm inspired, I just kind of flesh it out. To make it a lifestyle is all about being consistent. And consistency does not mean every day, right? You don't have to show up every day on every social media platform. If that is something that you have bandwidth for, great, the more the merrier, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, maybe, especially when you're trying to brand yourself as a personal brand, people need to see you and they need to see you repeatedly. So maybe consistent is like, I'm going to show up on people's timelines 3 times a week. And if you thrive on stories, try to show up on stories as much as you can, right? Whether it's LinkedIn stories, or is that what they're called?
Yeah, they are. You okay, yeah. You on point.
LinkedIn stories or Instagram stories or Facebook stories, even like Twitter has fleets now, like whatever your preferred platform, TikTok, you know, just try to show up consistently. And that's how we make it a lifestyle. So if you are batching ahead, you sit down and create a bunch of different content, whether it's video or static images, and then you kind of leak it, right? So you don't have to be stressed out every day about what am I going to post today. But if you like that stress, go for it.
Yeah, I don't like stress. It doesn't really work for my lifestyle. I mean, I got enough stress just trying to survive, let alone trying to think about content creation. That's why I literally do this every week. Yes, it's good for y'all. I'm glad y'all benefit, but it's keeping me consistent. Like I have a weekly show, exactly. So I guess I have to show up and provide some value to people. So and so part of it's like, it doesn't have to be a huge production, but really just checking in once a week or sharing a tip or doing something. Tools. Do you have any tools you recommend? Like, I know, like for me, as like I always tell everybody, InShot. And honestly, that's like my biggest thing. If you want to edit things, use InShot. It's an app. And on top of that, like my biggest secret, you're like, ooh, I like your LinkedIn stories. I'm like, I do too. I honestly just record them on Instagram, save them to my phone, and upload them. And it's 2 for 1, and it works out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tools you like?
Not even, there's endless amounts of tools, but I don't want people to feel pressured that you have to have all the tools to be successful on social media, right? You know, if you're like a graphics kind of person and you want to create like inspo quotes or written topics, like Canva, you can do so many things on Canva for free. And there's already like templates and stuff. Just, you know, even if you're a personal brand, try to pick colors that resonate with your personality and your business goals and stick to those colors, right? You know, maybe like no more than like 4-ish, 4 or 5, maybe. I have like 5 or 6, no, I'm not talking. But something that's like not a tool, but that will work for like consistency is create a plan for yourself. I'm all about batching and planning, obviously.
Clearly, Lianamar is a planner, y'all. So you need to have her help you with your content in your life. Like, can you just plan everything for me?
You know, like maybe you create like a little themes for every day. Like, oh, every Monday, I'm going to share a tip. On Wednesdays, I'm going to talk about a client story or my personal journey. And maybe on Fridays, I'll talk about like, I don't know, something viral that I saw that may pertain to my industry or something. Maybe it's like your fun content day. You know, it can be as simple as that on whatever platform that you are on. So that's my biggest. As for like tools, so I like to use Airtable to plan. Just because it's kind of visual, but you don't need like fancy.
And can you describe like what that is for people who might not like? What is it? Project management tool or?
It can be. Airtable is like a glorified spreadsheet, but it is such a it literally when you open it, it just looks like a spreadsheet. But it's like colorful and like the cells are like on steroids. You can like do all kinds of things. So I do it for my content. I have my content banks in there and my content calendars, and I share it with my clients and they give me feedback, and it's visual and it has labels and tags. So if you like organization like I do, then that's the thing for you. But honestly, it could just be like a notebook. It could be a notes in your phone where you say like, these are some ideas for my Monday topic. These are some ideas for my Wednesday topic. These are, and et cetera, et cetera. How do
I
you
literally, so
plan
that's
your content,
Lianamar.
Deidre?
Well, that's funny because I'm like, Lianamar, you girl, I'm not like you. So literally, I take my little iPhone and I open up notes and I'm like,
There you go.
I just type my little note. I have notes. And my other thing is I hear songs and I get like, oh, I love this song. And I'm like, I'm going to save that for my reels. And so I have a list of songs for reels already planned. And so whenever I have like an idea, it's like, oh, snap, that would be fire with this song. Put that together. I'm good.
And that is a really good kind of tip that you're backing into is consume content. I'm not saying consume or recreate, right? You should be creating more content than you're consuming, but get inspired. Try to look at people creating content that you like outside of your industry, because sometimes when we look at too many people in our industry, we inadvertently like copy them, and it's very easy to do when you really have to try not to. But for me, it helps to look at people outside our industry to get kind of like inspiration. But at the same, I also do like a Reels VIP day where I create Reels for my clients. So I consume a lot of Reels, and I'm constantly saving songs just like you, like, oh, maybe I don't have an idea for the song right now, but I love it. So then when I sit down to batch create, I listen to all the songs. I'm like, oh, this could fit with that. That could fit with this. So that's for Reels specifically. But I would also say, like, don't try, if you are going to batch, don't try to do like start to finish in one sitting, like creating one piece of content. Like the way my brain works and most people's brain works is we're kind of like task oriented. So maybe like write all your ideas one day and then like write all your captions another day, then create the visuals that go along with them on another day. So your brain isn't constantly switching back and forth from different kinds of tasks, like really creative visual tasks to like writing and things like that, because it's like different parts of your brain. And so that's what I find kind of works for me, especially like managing multiple clients across various industries and like different strategies for each of them.
Now we talked in detail about content creation. So I think that is step one. But captivating content, that's another. So okay, I say that people are like, well, I made a post and it's like no one liked it. It's like, well, one, maybe it's the wrong timing, maybe it's the wrong audience, but also maybe just wasn't good. And so how do we actually create content that actually engages people and captivates them?
Yeah, so that is a hard one because it depends. It depends on your industry. I mean, across the board, video is the content king right now. So the most you can try to create video, but also try to make the video accessible, right? Because on any platform, most people are watching video with the sound off. Even like people right now are probably looking at us and they're not listening to us because they're going to listen to it later whenever they have time. But try to add like captioning to things to make it more interesting. When it comes to video, the first like 3 seconds of whatever topic you're talking about, they're most important, right? Because that's how you're going to get people's attention. So whether it's video content or written content, you always want to think of a hook. Like our attention spans are very, very short now. So you have seconds, maybe milliseconds to grab people's attention. So whether it's like the first line of your caption or the first 3 seconds of your video, you have to make it interesting, right? Because ultimately people are on any social media platform first to be entertained, right? To get that dose of serotonin, to, like to escape, even if it's on LinkedIn. When I scroll through LinkedIn, I'm looking for like success stories or good, career advice and things like that kind of uplift me. So ultimately is entertain. So if your content is not doing well, then it doesn't mean that the content is bad, but maybe the format is bad. So try it in a couple of different formats. So trial and error. If it didn't do good, okay, cool. If the message that you want to get across is important, try to package it differently and try it until something works. Follow trends. I mean, trends become trendy for a reason because this is how people like to receive information. So, if LinkedIn is your platform of choice, maybe go look and see what things are doing well on other platforms and see how you can bring it back, right? That would be my advice.
And leverage whatever is the new hot medium. So obviously on Instagram, it's Reels. Right now, every freaking second, I see a poll on LinkedIn. Apparently, polls are trending right now because I'm like, everything's a damn poll. And so, what does this mean for y'all? Write some polls, put some polls. Stories are also really doing well. So it's like whatever the hot new thing is, leverage it because you're going to get more visibility. The algorithm or the system will reward it. So also that, because I will tell you, because I repost. I created a story at like 9 views. I reposted to a reel, and like I got 1,000 views within like 13 minutes. So I was like, for the same darn thing I said,
the same
you know what I'm saying?
content. Yeah.
Same exact message.
But a different format. So there, you just proved my case. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So follow the trends. Think about, how do you like to receive information? Odds are that a lot of other people out there like to receive it too. So if you're constantly on LinkedIn engaging in polls, then you gotta get your content across in a poll, you know?
Yeah, and just reformat whatever that is into, okay, how do I turn this poll? Like, what can I ask about?
Yeah.
Here's my story. Like this, yes or no, or why? So I just say there's a lot of opportunities here that we can leverage. I guess, what trends are you the most excited about right now with content in general? It could literally be social media. It could be actual media, but like, what trends do you see right now? Like, ooh, that's really interesting. Like, what's going on?
I love me some reels. I love consuming reels. I spend more time. So on Instagram, you know, we have like the reels tab. I spend probably most of my time on there, right? So I plan dedicated time to consume. And when I do that, I'm just like, okay, that's a good idea. That's a good trend. No, you know, and I'm also judging reels because I create reels for my clients. So it's important for me to know like what's working, what the trends are. You know, I do Reels VIP days. So like that week leading up to our day, I'm like, okay, what are the trends this week? Because they change from day to day to day. So yeah, that's my favorite trend, video. I love video. And I don't know if I'm just biased because like video has always kind of been my life. Like since I was a little girl, like I always wanted to be like a TV reporter, and I finally got there and I hated it. But I feel like somehow like reels and video content kind of magically dropped into my lap. So it's like kind of the same advice. I had to change the format, right? Like maybe it wasn't like reporting news on TV. It's like educating on social media about my platform of choice.
Can I like ask you some media questions right now, since I got you on camera and I can
Yeah.
force you to? Okay, people who want to be in the media on TV, how do they pitch a story? How do they get on the reporter's radar, the news station's radar? I've been on TV internationally. I think I've been on nationally, but I was like a kid, so that didn't really count. But I say that because like part of that, I connected with someone whose friend was a producer, and I had to write my short bio for that, and I got picked up and spoke. So how do people traditionally get on the TV if they don't have a friend, I guess?
So you got to find who the gatekeepers are. And that sometimes that can take a little bit of digging online. You know, and even media now is like podcasts too, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
getting on TV is not the end all be all now. There's so many other, you know, getting like a live situation like this could get you much further reach anyway. But so when it comes to like TV stations, the reporter isn't always the person choosing the story, right? So usually it's a producer, and underneath the producer is typically the news desk. So they're kind of fielding all of the content or everything that's happening, listening to police scanners, reading PR pitches that come through the mail. So find out like what that email address is that is kind of fielding all of this. If you can get the email address to a reporter, which I'm sure you can find them online somehow, you can kind of guess what their first name, last name at whatever their station is. And you know, you just gotta try to get in where you fit in. Email all the people. I mean, obviously the shortcut to this is working with like a PR agency that already has the keys to the kingdom. So that's like the pricey way to go. But if you are a do-it-yourself person, then I mean, the internet, LinkedIn, you know, reaching out to these reporters via LinkedIn, I'm sure a lot of them get pitched through LinkedIn. And you never know, it might be a slow news day for them, and your story might be the one. So I think, you know, don't stop trying, because you can get a lot of no's, but somebody's going to have a slow news day, and that's going to be your yes.
Exactly. Twitter, man. Twitter is a really good route
Twitter
for that.
too. Yeah.
People be sleeping on Twitter. Twitter is the truth. Like Twitter literally is that people will investigate things and find people on Twitter. They will definitely. And so storytelling, like obviously I'm asking this for the news because I feel like what live video is period is a difficult thing to do. I mean, that's why you're so good right now, because you probably did a lot of live video. It's network hard work and be kind. Yes. Emphasis on being kind. We got to be kind. That's how people like to attract other people. But how do people, one, one of my first questions. How do you craft a story that is interesting and, enriched? Because I know that's part of something that you cared about was telling stories that matter. But like, what's your philosophy on how to craft a good picture story to obviously for the news, but even for your audience to get them interested?
Yeah, so when I was writing stories, and I think this is something that I use a lot now in writing caption, is have you ever like had someone try to tell you a story and they want to tell you like all the beginning story before they like, they want to talk to the backstory for 10 minutes before you get to like the interesting part? That's exactly what you don't want to do, right? Again, we have short attention spans. Think about how we see a news on TV. When they pitch the next segment, they're telling you the important stuff first, which is the first 3 seconds of your video, the first line of your hook. So try to work the story backwards. Tell me the meat, the interesting part, what happened, like why you should pay attention, and then work back to telling me the backstory. Because if you got my interest here, I'm gonna read all the way to the end to get to the backstory. And sometimes when I listen to people talk in real life, I like have such a reporter brain that I get exasperated. I'm just like, get to the beginning and then work backwards. So hook, and then work backwards to fill in the gaps of your story.
I'm gonna pick your brain some more. So here's the thing. How to wrap up the conversation. The one thing that people struggle with is wrapping up conversations. I know reporters are good at this, like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm Barbara Walters, it's 2020. Like, how do people wrap it up? I feel like we get on live camera or live, I don't know, Instagram, whatever. We tell things and it's like, oh, snap, I got to end. How do you end a conversation live gracefully?
You have to have a plan. Look, girl, you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan. And this doesn't need to be like a verbatim, but like when I was gonna go on live TV, I would have like, it could be like a sticky note, and I would have like my 3 points, and then what is my call to action?
Everything. Oh my God, we are so. I'm the same. That's why I love you.
Everything on so social media. It's basically the news, right? You each have this is my channel. Like, this is the story of my life. This is my 6 o'clock news. So have your main points, and you want to have a call to action. The call to action doesn't always need to be buy my service, buy my product, but like, hey, tune in, because if you thought this story was interesting, I have more content like this. So, and that's how you want to alternate your call to action. So yeah, just have a plan. Like, we have a plan for today. We had a couple of items that we wanted to talk to, and then we get to kind of like this open Q&A, and then we talk until we feel like we have fulfilled the need of our audience. And then we will wrap it up shortly with some call to actions and how to find each of us. So just have a plan.
Telling our secrets, but yeah, that's exactly what I do every time. That's why I'm telling y'all right now, since Lianamar put it on Front Street, I don't ever really prep. You know why? Because my prep is in my mind. I know what I want to talk about. I know the questions I want guests to answer.
I know, and you should too. Yeah,
you should too. Like,
I don't want what you want to talk about.
I don't want my audience to ever leave feeling like, what? Why the hell did I watch this? Like, that's what I don't want. I want you to be like, I learned some fire stuff, either for me, for my friend, from somebody that they can have a better life. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is 100%. And obviously, Lianamar is about that life. She's a planner for sure. And so I do.
But you are too. You're underestimating yourself, because planning doesn't have to be like every single minute itemized, right? It could just be like a general skeleton of an idea. And I've been actually sitting on this content piece, and I might have to make it come to life after this, is that I watch a lot of live rooms, right? Because I love live rooms, and this is like a live room like this, or it's actually called live rooms on Instagram. And people just start like, I'm just gonna wait for everybody to join and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you just wasted 3 minutes of my time. Goodbye, I'm exiting out. Like, most people watch content like this on the replay. I totally appreciate all you live people here. I appreciate you. But a lot of people, because we all have busy lives, right? So unless you hit someone's agenda perfectly, they're gonna watch in the replay. So don't bore people. This is like, don't bore people on social media. Start like it's gonna be a replay. Make it interesting. You started this, like, let's tell you, this is exactly why you should keep watching, because this is what Lianamar is about, and this is what you're gonna learn. And the same with the ending, right? Okay, once we have met our purpose, wrap it up. Like, it doesn't need to go on for 3 hours to be valuable.
It really don't. I mean, honestly, if you get one fire tip to change your life, like, why do I need? I'm definitely not about. I am about quality connections, interesting insights, but I'm not about the fluff. Because, like, if it ain't my hair, I am not about the fluff. That is basically
I love that.
That's how we roll. I do want, I mean, okay, my last time embarrassing you because I just want to, but like, can you give me like a reporter voice? Like, can you talk about,
No,
like, I want to hear, like, do you, like,
this
how did you
is my
talk?
reporter voice.
Okay,
I
you
think I
report,
changed my. I don't
reporter
think I changed
voices
my reporter voice.
sound, I don't know, they sound kind of different. I mean, I don't know
Like
how
this
they
is
got,
Lianamar Davila reporting from the last news station. Oh, I don't even want to tell you what it is because it was trash. That's why I quit. You know, like reporting live from. But I don't think I have a reporter voice. I just
okay,
talk normal. I don't know. So
I,
I did do a reel on my account that was kind of like reportery, and I think I brought back my reporter voice. I need to do more like that, but
and I
because that one
say
was
this
fun.
because what happens, I laugh because I see a lot of stuff. I have clients and I do role playing with them. And so I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
got to get the elevator pitch down. So I'm like, okay, go. And like literally when we do it, they have their corporate voice or their, and I'm like, who is that? Because I'm like, the person I just talked to 5 seconds ago did not have that voice. So I'm like, part of the stuff is yes, speak in a way that's articulate. And I always try to work on that. I'm not the most articulate person with my dictation, but I try to, but like be yourself when you're talking because it sounds people can tell when you have your I call it telemarketing voice or your
Mm-hmm.
your work voice and you're like okay forget that I'm gonna get back to me but people want authentic voices now more than ever and I think that is really
Mm-hmm.
true. I do have a question for you too. So Lianamar, well, what you're doing in life and your business, something I really care about a lot is legacy building. That is all like that's honestly all I think about death probably more than the average person, or at least maybe like a funeral home I do. Because I really care about like what am I living for, what am I dying for. So for you, what is the legacy you're building and what do you want to be known for?
So I think one of the reasons that I decided to go after an online business, I mean, one, because I feel like the tools and my background and my experience, I can really leverage it to help my clients be successful on social media. But ultimately, I am chasing free, and I know this is kind of like cliche, but like freedom. And for me, freedom looks a little bit differently. Yes, we all want financial freedom, and I want to try to build some kind of like passive income that I could pass on to my legacy. But for me, freedom is like location freedom, time freedom. You know, in my business now, I can work the hours that I want to work or the days that I want to work. Um, and that's really most important for me. And location freedom. I'm really big into traveling. Like I've been to 30 countries and I feel like that is not enough. I want to double, triple that number ASAP. Thank you, COVID, that has set back my plans. But as soon as I can here, I plan to take my business on the road because I can effectively run my business from wherever. So that is like my goal with my, you know, lifestyle right now and my business. And that's the end goal to my business. Like, you know, next month I'm going to go work from Puerto Rico for a month, you know, and like spend time with my grandparents and because I can, you know, and I pray that if COVID has any positive impact on the world that we've been through this is that people see the value of working from home. And if it's a lifestyle that works for you, it can be very efficient and very powerful for, you know, for us.
Yeah, you might never see me in person again. I might just be an avatar, or you might see me a hologram. Unless you
Yeah,
pay extra, y'all going to see this much of me on the
it works.
on
It
the.
works for me. I love being here.
I love this. You don't need to 3D me.
Mm-mm.
You can just have D on the screen. And so I have to ask if people want to learn more about you, how to create content that captivates, how to really have a great Instagram presence, how to literally motivate people to like engage with them on social media. Where can they find you, and and what for?
So I am always hanging out on Instagram. That is my platform of choice. I will be trying to bring my talents over to LinkedIn because Deidre has, you know, encouraged me and motivated me for so long. But yeah, I'm at Lee Dottie Social on Instagram. And, you know, and if you are not ready to use me in the capacity of full service monthly management, I also do one-on-one strategy sessions. And I'm going to be coming out with a lower ticket group coaching program. If you just need someone to like do kind of what we were doing now, talk about content pillars, you know, share your content ideas for the week and I can kind of help you tweak it. I will be releasing a low cost group coaching program here soon where we can meet on a weekly basis and jam out your content ideas.
Yeah, and I'm now I have to hype you up. So Lianamar is really good at taking stuff out of your brain, putting it on paper on the screen, and making it beautifully visually, verbally, and all that stuff. So I say this: if you guys are out there struggling and you know what I mean, struggling to get your content out there because you're too busy, don't know what to say, him and then hauling excuses, like literally like reach out to her. She has these resources. You also have an Instagram page with all kinds of like tips and stuff. I'm like giving out all the jewels, man. So if you want to actually learn to level up your content, definitely reach out to her. Like I literally work with her, I refer her, and I believe in her. So I'm saying
She
if you
does.
don't believe in yourself or content, believe that Lianamar can help you with this. And obviously, if you're out there desire to build a powerful personal brand, to go after your dream life, dream career, find your dream clients, I am here for you. Like this is the life we're about. It's about being sought after experts so that we are in control and command of our career. We don't have to rely on anybody else but ourselves to control our destinies. I want to equip you with the tools to do that. So definitely reach out to me at deidrewright.com. That's where I'm at. You can book a call with me. Again, Lianamar's information for our website's in the description in this universe of this conversation. So find it. Lianamar, any last words you have to our audience right now that you want to leave them with?
Remember, you are content. Everyone is content. We can find some content within you. So hit me up, and if you don't know, I can help you.
Awesome. And on that note, we're going to say goodbye to you guys. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye. Thank you.